Well, hello, folks. Tony Howard here with Astrology University, and I'm excited to tell you about our upcoming summit, Breakthrough and Transformation, Inspiring Stories of Astrology in Action. The summit takes place October 26th and 27th, 2019, and you can sign up right now for free at astrologyuniversity.com/summit. And I have one of our amazing speakers here to tell you a little bit about her presentation, Hadley Fitzgerald. Hey, Hadley, thanks for joining me today.
Hi, Tony. It's good to be here.
It's great to have you. And your talk has an intriguing title. They just said no. Can you tell folks what that means and what you're going to be sharing with them?
Yes. Well, first of all, I want to frame it in terms of the myth of Eros and Psyche, that many of us are familiar with, tells us that Psyche, the soul, can't remain innocent and unconscious indefinitely. And so her desire to know the truth, as we see in that story, exacts a very severe penalty, and it requires her to accomplish these seemingly impossible tasks, and it puts her on the edge of despair several times. She can't imagine how she can get these things done. She needs help. And yet this process also initiates a profound transformation for her because she is committed to what she holds dear. So in this webinar, we're going to explore the charts of three people, an Aries, a Cancer, and a Capricorn. And their life challenges led them to irrevocably know certain things. And for them, knowing became a soulful mandate that changed them and the world around them. And we know in our own families of origin and in sundry other circumstances later in life, many of us come to know things that challenge us to go forward. And we have to go along a certain path that we wouldn't have exactly chosen. So these three people were abducted into another reality, and they came to know things about themselves and about the human collective family that they just felt compelled to let us all know about. So they had to interrogate their own assumptions, just as we astrologers have to interrogate ours. And because they're famous, I realized we can forget that they were just going about their lives until they weren't and until they couldn't anymore. So in this era, I thought of instant one-click dopamine gratification. It seems more important than ever to take heart and remember how long and deep and arduous the evolutionary process can be. So my first person is Wangari Maathai, and she's not that well known, really, and she should be. She, out of her own life experience, she looked around at the life of women in Kenya and realized that the degradation of the environment and the colonization had a lot to do with their suffering. So she organized them to plant trees and to help them improve the quality of their life. She was jailed, she was beaten, she was called mad, she was called subversive, her husband divorced her. But by the time she died, she had won the Nobel Peace Prize for founding the Green Belt movement. And that movement had planted more than 30 million trees and had also inspired the United Nations to launch a campaign that led to the planting of 11 billion trees worldwide. And
Wow.
I had the good fortune to meet her and interview her at length at the UN in August of 2000. And our conversation made an indelible impression on me. And her life and her chart really speak to our time personally and collectively. And then in an interesting synchronicity, when I was at the UN, I was also able to interview Dr. C.T. Vivian, who had just returned from a visit with Nelson Mandela and had gone on with him on a pilgrimage to Robben Island, where Mandela had been imprisoned. And our conversation helped me reconceptualize the Saturn cycle. And so I look back and I realized I was 19 years old when Nelson Mandela was captured, and I was 46 years old when he was released from prison. So he had to find ways to endure the unendurable and to conquer the despair and rage within himself first. And his transformation from freedom fighter to world-renowned prisoner to Nobel Peace Prize winner to president of South Africa taught us that, and continues to teach us, that it was possible for dignity and hope to triumph over despair and hatred. And then the third person, I can imagine most of the people attending this summit will know who Gretta Sundberg is, and have probably looked at her chart, for which we have no birth time so far. But still, she single-handedly created the International Youth Climate Strike and relentlessly called out the hypocrisy in the gap between what is politically expedient and what is scientifically necessary. She's open about her early bouts, really early. She was so little with depression, and about having Asperger's syndrome, and how it enables her to say things that no one wants to or dares to say. And, you know, it's interesting, the whole world is really watching her progressions and the Saturn-Pluto transits operating in real time in the life of a soul disguised as a 16-year-old schoolgirl. So I see that by exemplifying the three corners of the Cardinal Grand Cross, these three lives draw our attention to the archetypal Libran quest for peace and justice, and the daunting task of bringing shadow and light into balance. And I think they also remind us, and we need to be reminded, that Psyche doesn't get to skip any of her assigned tasks. So as Gandhi said, what you do may seem insignificant, but it's very important that you do it.
Wow, thanks for that, Hadley. I can't wait to see the talk, and thanks for preparing such an inspiring lecture for us. You might notice that Hadley chose some examples of folks who have overcome some adversity in their own life, and that's part of our summit theme this time, as we're all working with the Saturn-Pluto conjunction that's unfolding as we speak, and just intensifying after the summit. I wanted to provide some lectures and some examples of folks who have worked with adversity in their own life and done positive things with it, or at least lived through that adversity in a way that became an example of hope for the rest of us. So thanks for preparing all that material for us, Hadley. I know it's going to be awesome. So if you would like, if you'd like to sign up for the summit, head over to astrologyuniversity.com/summit. It is free to sign up, and it's free to watch live. So it's free to watch live as the summit is being broadcast October 26th and 27th. If you happen to tune into this video after that, no worries. You can head over to that same link and order the All Access Pass, which is going to give you access to all of the summit talks, as well as some great bonus lectures, including one by Stephen Forrest and another by Mark Jones, and a whole slew of other bonuses. So head over to astrologyuniversity.com/summit, and you can also get that All Access Pass now if you would like, and then you don't need to be around that weekend, or you can just tune into one or two lectures and then watch the rest as you have time. So thanks again for taking time out of your schedule, Hadley, both to talk to us today, but also to prepare this material for us for the summit. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're so welcome, Tony. It's always a pleasure.
All right, and we'll see some of you at the summit very soon. And until then, take good care.